Well, time to eat crow, boys. I was wrong and you were right. The YouTube comment section, for once in your life, give yourselves a big round of applause. Everybody who's been skeptical of Bill Gates this whole time, I bet you're giving yourself just take a victory lap, okay? You get this one. These new allegations coming out on Bill Gates are so crazy, and it made me realize that I've been giving this guy a pass for too long based on his philanthropy work, which has laundered his reputation and ingratiated himself to a lot of people, including myself, who kind of saw him as just this lovable grandpa. Yeah, that turned out to be kind of a bunch of nonsense, as we'll find out in a second here. But here's me. I said, Bill Gates is canceled. And basically, it's a piece defending Bill Gates and saying, you guys got him all wrong. He's a lovable philanthropist. How much I have changed in the last 6 months, boys. How much I have soured on Bill Gates. Let me tell you, it's all because of the Epstein stuff. Watching this Epstein case come out and watching Bill Gates repeatedly lie over and over again, it made me realize there's not a good piece documenting these lies. Just lie after lie after lie after lie after lie. And because it was what convinced me to take a second look on old Billy Boy, I thought I'd share it with you because you might not be aware of how much Bill Gates has lied and tried to basically underplay his relationship with Epstein, arguably the worst person of the 21st century, the worst billionaire. Now, I'm not making this video saying all the comments saying that he's microchipping people. I'm not saying y'all are right, but what I am saying is that Bill Gates, he's not a lovable grandpa. No, actually, he was friends with for as long as he possibly could be until the PR just looked too bad for him. And then it seems like he tried to distance himself very poorly. And now it's cost him his marriage, and it may cost him his entire public reputation. And we're going to talk about it right now. We know traditionally you hang out with these kinds of people, chances are you got sticky fingers somewhere. So let's go through the evidence. We'll stick to the Epstein story because that's what's interesting to me.
In the latest fallout connected to Jeffrey Epstein, MIT is opening an investigation into its ties to the financier and convicted sex offender.
A journal citing several people reporting that one source of concern for Melinda, a global advocate for women and girls, was Bill's dealings with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
He also has one of the largest, most established foundations on his own.
Yes.
Why would they ever set up a charitable trust benefiting Jeffrey Epstein?
So let's start this web of lies with the first time it was announced that Bill Gates may have had something to do with Jeffrey Epstein. What did he say?
New York Times sheds light on the connection between Microsoft founder Bill Gates and the late Jeffrey Epstein. After Gates' name came up in connection with Epstein and MIT Media Lab, Gates gave a statement to the Wall Street Journal where he insisted he did not have any business relationship or friendship with Epstein.
All right, so no business relationship or friendship. You hear that? Nothing. This man's never seen the man, never met him. But oops, it looks like the New York Times found an email from Bill Gates talking about Epstein the first time they met, which is weird because apparently they had never met before. But he apparently praised Epstein, saying his lifestyle is very different. That's one way to put it. And kind of intriguing. That's really weird. Although it would not work for me, Mr. Gates emailed colleagues in 2011 after their first get together with Mr. Epstein. Now, bear in mind, of course, it's important to note, it was known at this time Epstein's misdoings. He had already been charged with solicitation of a minor, so that's really important. This is after the fact Gates meets with him. So, okay. What do? Now, at this point, a spokesperson from Bill Gates told the Times that Bill Gates regrets ever meeting Epstein, noting that was an error in judgment to do so and at odds with Gates' personal values. So now we're led to believe that maybe he only met him one time. So, okay, here they make it sound like it was just a one-off meeting, a chance meeting, a mistake. He never did it again, right? Oops. Once again, according to the New York Times, Gates actually met at least 3 times in the guy's Manhattan townhouse, once staying late into the night. Does this sound like somebody who's not your friend? You know, you're hanging out with them all night. Does this sound like just a casual meeting of the minds? Only 3 times, guys. Only 3 times. Well, okay. So Bill Gates, they go, okay, maybe we did that. Maybe we met with them more than once. But hey, I never went to Florida with him. See, according to a report from the Wall Street Journal this time, we hear from Bill Gates. He says, I may have seen him a few times, but according to him, I met him. I didn't have any business relationship or friendship with him. I didn't go to New Mexico or Florida or Palm Beach or any of that, guys. But okay, he says he's never been to Florida, right? Oops. In a piece that is actually defending Bill Gates, we find that Bill Gates has lied once again. See, according to flight logs, Gates flew on an aircraft of Epstein's once, but this was to Florida. This is the place that he said he's never been. Never been to Florida. Actually, yes, it turns out maybe we did go to Florida. Hey, maybe one time. Florida, yes. Florida, yes. But what's the new lie? Oh, Mr. Gates apparently, who owns his own $40 million jet, hadn't been aware that it was Mr. Epstein's plane. This man, serial liar here. And he continues to deny and minimize and, I don't know this guy. Never met him. What? Who? This is the stuff that pisses me off and has made me totally rethink this man. But that was where the story pretty much lied until this Bill and Melinda Gates marriage kerfuffle. As you guys probably know, they got divorced. Very sad. We don't celebrate divorce here. So that's very sad to see. But what has come out of it has been very interesting in the Gates-Epstein relationship. Because several reports, if you've been following, about Bill Gates have come out. A lot of them with anonymous sources, which a lot of people are uncomfortable with, and I'll give you guys my take on that. Now, before we go any further, let me just kind of lay where we are with you with relation to the, what's been happening. Because all this bad PR has been coming out right after the divorce, and people are confused why. Why now? Where are these sources coming from? Well, many people, including myself, suspect the Melinda Gates PR team of releasing this data or releasing these sources sort of silently. And there's a lot of kind of good reasons for that. I mean, usually in an acrimonious divorce like this, you may see them both playing PR games. Like if you go onto Twitter right now, you'll find hundreds of people talking about Melinda Gates has the PR team royals think they have. What are the odds Melinda Gates' PR team drops new pictures of Bill Gates and Epstein before the end of the month? Most people are speculating that it's that divorce team, and that's actually why we're seeing these reports come out. Here's Sagar from The Rising. I think they usually have good takes. They also kind of have this theory.
Now, this is likely leaked from Melinda Gates' divorce team, so take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, it's probably is. And I do think that's worth saying, that you probably do need to take it with a grain of salt. But why do we think this? Well, it's because these news outlets like the Wall Street Journal, the Daily Beast, the New York Times, all of them are running massive bombshell stories with anonymous sources. And you wouldn't run stories this big against somebody as powerful as Bill Gates unless the sources were really good. As someone who sort of had to deal with the problem of anonymous sources before, I've kind of had to grapple with how do you vet an anonymous source for your audience? And what you find out is you actually sort of have to be more careful with anonymous sources, not less careful, because if it turns out wrong and it turns out that anonymous source is lying, then it makes you look really bad. It makes you look horrible. So before doing this reporting, my guess is that these papers did their due diligence and they found out, okay, they're from the inside scoop. I mean, they have the inside story. A lot of them are citing it as people familiar with the matter. Okay, who's familiar with Bill and Melinda Gates' marriage? Who's more familiar than Melinda Gates or a spokeswoman for Melinda Gates? And they're never going to come out and say it out loud, obviously, for obvious reasons. It's a bad look. So instead, it's sort of leaked to the presses, etc. But with that context of where these sources are coming from, and also you should take it with a grain of salt, as well as realize that it probably is coming from a source who probably does know what they're talking about, let's talk about what they figured out. The biggest report comes from the Daily Beast, saying Jeffrey Epstein gave Bill Gates advice on how to end toxic marriage, sources say. There's that sources say again. I think it probably should be read Melinda says. It's just my opinion, purely my speculation there. But what's really important about this is, once again, we find out that we've been lied to again. Because after years of saying that they were not friends, yes, they may have met 3 times, yes, they may have, stayed late, we now find out that the billionaire met Epstein dozens of times, which is many times more than previously reported. Previously, we had like 3 to 5 times we were thinking, maybe several times. Now we're hearing that it's dozens. These people were friends. They were close. They hung out. I mean, this is such a bad look. Going from no relationship at all, not, who is he, what, Epstein, to like they're buds. They go hang out when Bill's having a hard time with Melinda. Listen, I don't know about that part. What we do know is that they probably were really close. Everything we're seeing come out is saying that they're much closer than admitted. And everything we're hearing from the Bill Gates side is just the constant denial, but they've been denying everything from the get-go. So I don't put much stock in what they're saying. And one of the massive bombshells to come out of this is this part right here, where Gates apparently, far from being unaware of Epstein's whole problem with the law, actually wanted to help him rehabilitate his image in the media following his 2008 guilty plea. Sounds like a real friend there. And discussed Epstein becoming involved with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to rehab his minor for charge. Like, are you joking me? That is such a scumbag move. And by the way, plays into a lot of explanations for what we've been wondering for a very long time, because everyone is naturally wondering when they talk about, Epstein and the Gates connection, because we were always told, well, they were just meeting for philanthropy. The question was, why? What is Gates, this billionaire magnate with the most powerful people in the world that he knows, what does he need Epstein for? But now we might think that Epstein might have needed Gates, and Gates might have wanted to pay Epstein a favor by getting him involved in his philanthropy to rehabilitate his image. Going back to one of the earliest reports that we saw at the very beginning, we kind of can close a loose end here, which was why were they ever involved?
As an investigative reporter, why would Gates say, oh, I had no relationship with him, when of course he knows what the facts are? So that always sets off red flags for me. That's
a great question. Why did Bill repeatedly deny his involvement, relationship, underplay it? Because if it had all been truly innocent, if he had only met one time, maybe even 2 times with Jeffrey Epstein, that would be easy to admit to and move on. But if there's something more sinister here, then all of his denials and repeated, kind of downplaying of their true relationship would make sense. Now, beyond this, honestly, it just gets into conspiracy land, and I don't want to go there. I'm interested in giving you the facts where they lie right now and telling you that we've been repeatedly lied to by Bill Gates, and that this grandpa lovable philanthropist image may not be all it was said to be. And I wanted to get that to you. I can't go any further than that, but you can be sure, you could be damn sure, after being made look like a fool by Bill Gates because I defended him beforehand, and now I'm having to come out and report on this stuff, you can be sure that I'd be happy to report on news stories as they come out. I will tell you, I'll keep you in the loop. So if you're interested in this stuff, the life of the rich and powerful, subscribe, smash like, hit the bell, because when we learn more, I'll be the first to tell you about it. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed my mea culpa on Bill Gates. I was wrong. The YouTube comment section was right, and I can hardly believe it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
I know what you mean. This ain't what it seemed. Nothing but a trick, trying to sell me on a dream, but that was where you lost me. Wake up and smell the coffee.